I was doing okay until until we chose somebody to replace Rich Pauls on city council, and that caused more nonsense than I'd ever thought about.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to really start looking into it and get involved into it and find. As a matter of fact, I got to do one thing. I've got to. Well, I'll share it with you a little later on. But I do want to spend some time, early in the first part, in the first few minutes of our show, talking a little bit about the selection that we made, how we made it. Because if you read the World Herald and some of what they say, they make it sound like the city council didn't have a process for picking a person, and we did. And I want to take the opportunity to explain the process. But the other thing that I want to do is I want to talk about, as a journalist, and this is going to be really hard because, as a journalist, it's really hard to, tell people, what you mean when you say how people write a story. But the way this story was written about Miss Colleen Brennan is the person that we chose. The way the story was written, it was written like this was a gotcha moment. If you understand what I'm saying, she was blindsided, the council blindsided by the way this story was done. And I'm not going to say whether it was or was not intentional, because I don't know. But what I do want to share with people is, because sometimes we get hot and bothered about things, but Malcolm X said one time, Malcolm X said in a speech, and I know it was the last message, I may have said it more than once, but Malcolm X said, the media knows how to put something so that you'll be for it, and they know how to put something so that you'll be against it. In this particular instance, the way this story was written, it was written to be in opposition to this woman. And I'm going to give you some examples in a minute, but I want to tell people that the city council did have a process. And I'll take you back to when I was first elected in 2009. Soon after that, the late Chuck Segerson had a stroke. And he represented, I believe it was District 7 at the time.
Okay.
And as council members, what we said we would do, because we didn't want to play politics with it, first of all. So the first thing we said was, we're going to ask the person who sits in that seat, what would you like to see? What are your wishes? That's a person that had been sitting in that seat, and we ought to give them, a certain amount of say in who replaces them. In Chuck Segerson's case, we couldn't do that. So we went to the next best, we went to the next criteria that we used. In that particular district, they elected a Republican. So we were going to vote for a Republican because that's what that district wanted. Okay. So that's the process, kind of the process that we use. It's not vastly formal or anything like that, but it's a means to address replacing someone on the council in a fair, balanced kind of way. Okay, so that's the reason why. I mean, that's the process that we used. Okay, now I want to talk a little about the way the story was written
by
the World Herald,
Omaha World Herald,
because the story to me is flawed. And I want to give you some examples here, because I know what got people hot and bothered about it. He starts off and again, I want to tell people, I very seldom see anything that starts off like this. When you have a person that's new to the job, they usually go out and give you their background, where they came from. They usually ask council members, how did you come up with that pick? They didn't ask us anything like that until afterwards. But this is the only other time that I've seen a story like this is when they went after my wife.
Okay.
When she was the president of the school board, and they went after her, and they used this kind of journalism going after her. Okay. All right. So that's what made me, because I got a text message from LaVon Stennis Williams, and I got to call her back too. I got to apologize because I didn't get back to her, because when she asked me a question, she said she didn't understand the vote. And I'm saying, well, I hadn't seen the story yet. So when I saw this story, I got to admit to you, I went immediately to being pissed off because the way this story was written as a journalist, and I do know a little something about being a journalist.
Right.
When you write a story like this that starts off, and this is the way he started this story off. An Omaha woman who was selected Tuesday to serve on the remainder of the outgoing city council members' term suggested on her website that concerns about the coronavirus have been blown out of proportion. Okay, so now you start with that. You don't even introduce who she is. You don't introduce any of that. You just start with that. And then you go to this inflammatory next paragraph. She also penned an essay on race in which she said, white people want to know why African Americans don't stop the adoration of gangs, crime, and violence when they are disproportionate victims of it. Now, with that second paragraph, that would have pissed me off if I was a black person not knowing anything about journalism or anything like that, or not knowing anything about how they set this up. You know, you could be tricked into thing, and you can get angry about this. And I know a number of people were angry about it. But if you go down here and you place it in context, and I'm gonna give you the context of this.
And we talked about this because we read her blog.
Yeah,
and we did put it in context. And I don't disagree with her. You know, I mean, far as what she wrote in her blog, because well, we do it in our music. You know, give glory to being a gang member, and I mean, most of the victims are women and children, like she said, and these are things that we talk about. Me and Martine talk about consistently. So,
and she's speaking from her perspective as a white woman.
Yes.
No, but let's place this in context, because see, it wasn't placed in context
by the
writer of who wrote this story. It wasn't placed in context.
Right. Okay.
So let me give you the context of it.
All right.
In her blog, what she writes first is writing from the African American side of the table. Brennan said, Black people want whites to understand the challenges and feelings of hopelessness that come from living in poverty. They want white people to understand that becoming a gang member, living a life of crime, or becoming a mother of multiple children and multiple fathers is a byproduct of that hopelessness. And then she writes on the other side of the table what I told you about white people. What white people are saying, Black people, why are you live the gangbanger life and all that kind of stuff. Now, here's my question about the article that this guy, because me and this reporter got into it pretty bad, and he ticked me off. And, you know, because my question was, if you were going to use this blog, why did you use the second part of it that talks about white people and leave out the section that talks about Black people? Why didn't you use the first part of the blog if you were going to use it, unless your intention was to incite? Okay. So I want that, and I know, again, I know this is difficult for some people because, you know, you're not a journalist and you don't understand sometimes how people write. But like Malcolm said, and I will continue to say, people know how to write things so that you'll be for it, and they know how to write things so that you'll be against it. Now, after placing it in context, there may be some people who are still upset that this white woman is writing thus and so. And I will tell you that we had a meeting with one of the members of the Democratic Black Caucus, and we had a really good meeting this afternoon. And we opened up and shared some things so that, because a lot of times when you write an article like this, people automatically go to being ticked off, go to their corners, want to fight, this, that, and the other. Nobody talks to anybody else. And at the end of the day, you got all this friction. But this friction was caused not by her writings, but by how the story was presented. And so, you know, and if people still have an argument with her about, you know, white people writing about Black issues or something like that, you know, I mean, that's still open for discussion. But the fact of the matter is we had a woman who initiated or attempted to initiate the discussion that we all say we want to have that we all say we want to have.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to initiate that discussion, and then they turn around and attack her for it.
So what you're saying, Councilman, is that the writer, the write-up in the Omaha World Herald painted a different picture of what her blog was
Absolutely
stating.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
That's
didn't
exactly.
even acknowledge her as a new city council
Didn't
member.
even acknowledge it.
Just straight went into.
You didn't even introduce her.
And journalists supposed to be biased.
Unbiased. Is what we're supposed to be.
So why do you think Omaha World Herald wrote it that way?
I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate on it. I'm just going to say I think the story was horrible. I think it was horribly written. I'm not going to get into what people's motives may or may not have been in relationship to that, but this was a horribly written story. And I was more angry about how the story was written, because what it did was, in the end result, what it did was it ambushed the council, it ambushed Ms. Brennan, and it set a tone that made several people, especially in the African American community, angry. And I get the anger because the way it was written. Now, if you placed it all in context, maybe we got a different discussion.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt, you'll have a different discussion. But with this, what you did was you created controversy. And we should be in the business as journalists of covering it, but we shouldn't be in the business of creating it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Sometimes you need to understand, and maybe this is a teachable moment for everybody. Maybe their intent, maybe they didn't see what the intent of this story would do writing it this way.
Well,
so maybe it's a teachable moment for the World Herald too. But the fact of the matter is, as an award-winning journalist, I think this story was very poorly written. Very poorly written.
Honestly, when I read the story in the World Herald, I immediately went to the blog, maybe because I'm in journalism and I know how people write to sway opinions, negative or positive. I always want to encourage people, if you see a story, always refer to the source. Refer to the source. If they refer to a blog, that means there's a source that they're referring to, that the so-called reporter, because he had to put them in quotations. And so when I read the blog, I thought nothing was wrong with what she wrote. There's nothing wrong with what she wrote. It's she's actually starting a conversation on race.
Yes.
What's wrong with that? And she's coming from her perspective. She's white. She's not black.
But she's trying to engage the conversation so that she can learn.
Right.
Because this afternoon in the meeting that they had, she learned some things that made her understand that some of what she said was extremely sensitive to some people.
But sometimes we gotta stop being so soft and sensitive right now. Right now we gotta be tough. We gotta be tough. I'm telling everybody, words should not make us run out the room. I'm telling us, we gotta be stronger with receiving words, and it should not affect us emotionally, where we gather emotion off of words.
Exactly.
But we gotta have people at the table have the ability and the intelligence and the calmness to communicate, regardless what words are said across the desk. Sometimes it's going to be 4-letter words when you're negotiating hard for freedom, and freedom. You say some 4-letter words doing freedom, and if you're soft, go sit on the couch and let the other people stay in the kitchen and where the heat at, and we gotta stop being so emotional. Let's use our intelligent wealth. And because what I immediately did, I went and read the blog. Once I read the blog, I totally understand what she was coming from. The World Herald article was totally controversial. It created division automatically.
It created controversy, and that's something that you shouldn't do as a journalist. Okay, you should cover it if it happens. But you shouldn't be the person that you should, through your writings, whether you intentionally did it or not, through your writings, you don't create controversy. Because he kept asking me, are people mad because of my article, or are they mad because of what she said? I said, the way you put what she said made people angry. you know, the way you put it, the way you wrote it,
right?
You know, because I'm not letting him off the hook, you know, and I'm not going to cast aspersions on the paper. Look, I subscribe to the paper. You know, I'm not going to end my subscription because of this article, but I'm going to let everybody know that this article pissed me off because it was poorly written. And I'm talking about it from the perspective of a journalist.
Right.
This was poorly written. And
you think they'll retract it, or
I'm not looking for a retraction. I'm not looking for anything from them. No, I'm not looking for anything. And Bill, what Bill said was so very true, because the way you attack, you say things like African Americans, why don't they stop the adoration of gangs? Well, I could answer that real easy. Stop watching too much television. You know, I drive through this community all the time. Most of our people aren't in gangs. Most of our people at North Star, Boys and Girls Club, or something like that. Come on. You know, and there's just as many white people that do a lot of this nonsense as black people do. So don't put this on black people. So, you know, the adoration of gangs when they're the disproportionate victims of it and so forth. You know, all you do with those is you combat that ignorance with facts.
That's right.
You know, and you tell them, look, I'm a strong believer in unions, but I know what unions did to black people. You know, I know what the police unions used to do, fire unions used to do, contractors used to do. The Davis-Bacon Act was written out of racism. It wasn't written out of helping people. It was written out of racism. No black or other itinerant workers. That's what it says in the preamble of the Davis-Bacon Act. No black or other itinerant workers shall gain contracts with the federal government. See, that's the other thing. People got to be. We got to stop accepting things, and we got to start learning. You know, start going to the source. Do your homework.
Do your homework.
So you know, so that you know what's going on, and so that you're not being surprised. This article was a surprise to me as to, number one, how poorly it was written, and it would seem to some, because they have said it to me, it would seem to some that this was a setup. You set up the council, you set up Miss Brennan. Now it could be construed that way. I'm not saying that it was, but I'm saying it could be construed to be that way. So what I'm saying is we've got to, as Bill says, let me put it a different way, Bill. We got to put on our big boy and big girl britches.
Yeah, without doubt. You gotta get tough in here, baby.
And get tough and stay in that room and stay at that table. And when they say something crazy, you say something crazy back to help them understand that what they're saying is crazy.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Without doubt. If you want to play like that, let's play, baby.
Yeah, because I ain't
going nowhere. I'll be here all day long.
If white people or other black people want to have this discussion, I have the facts. Come have it with me any day of the week.
Because I'm gonna ask anybody. I'm gonna say something like the government. What y'all people been doing? I don't care who's in the room. I'm gonna ask them, because if they're not about the action, then they need to sit on the bench. So that story's covered. That's under the rug. Yep. Now what's next, brother? What's next? Because and the reason why I love you because you like to you a fighter. You like to come in here. You about it, baby. You know what I mean? So you said I ain't having no rumors out here. We're gonna come in here. We're gonna talk about it, Bill. And man, I appreciate you coming in here. You know, under the spotlight, because you know people, you ain't scared. And I can tell you really love this community.
Love this community. And, you know, I mean, if you spend the 25 or 30 years dealing with gang members and working with them and getting them out of gangs and stuff like I did, you have to learn that, you know, even if you were afraid, you got to put that fear someplace else, because you got business to do.
Right.
And you got people to save.
Right.
So you got to do that. Next on the agenda is I want to talk a little bit about this jail proposal that's being talked about.
Now the big boys, the big prison.
The big prison.
200 now where that money coming from?
You know, I don't know yet, because I haven't heard. The only thing I've heard is 350 million, and that ticked me off too. So
representing what? 350 million.
350 million is what that jail is going to cost. Okay. So what I've done is I've worked with my good friend Preston, and I've set up a meeting with Scott Frakes, because I really want to talk to them about this. There's a documentary that BET did. It's called Smoke, Blacks in America. And this is talking about marijuana, something I want to get to in a minute too, Bill. But but it talked about the number of people who are incarcerated and how they build jails and the reason they build jails and who mostly fills those jails. Okay. So, and you know, and I know people will say, man, before people get on their soapbox and say, well, I'm in favor of the Juvenile Justice Center, I say, yeah, I am, because that's going to close down that other monstrosity that we have over on 41st Street, and it's going to provide some wraparound services for those people downtown.
Are we going? I mean, either, you know, being a former probation officer, jail is jail.
No question.
No matter what location,
and no matter what you call it,
without a doubt. Now I know we got to have a jail. I know we got to have an institution, but we got to get some guarantees that there's some, since there's more blacks and Hispanics, that majority of the programming be black and Hispanics, because
not just the programming, Bill.
Staff. I mean, we don't get no love from nobody else, man.
No.
I'm telling you. I mean, you know, we don't get no love.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, here's what you got to guarantee, that there's going to be some services for these folks. Okay. And that's all I'm saying about the building of this new big jail. Because right now you ain't providing a whole lot of services and support as it is for the people that are currently incarcerated. And now you're going to build another one.
Well, I mean, what really pissed the people off about that juvenile, they already knew it's a building for a building, but that extra 10, and I know you're not on the county. I'm glad you're not on the county board, because I was pissed off. I
heard you.
I
heard them.
I think they heard you in Iowa.
Hey, bro, I love you, but I would disagree with you, man, because you know people are hungry, man. This is your district. Don't our district need us $10 million for real? Don't we need that money?
But
the churches.
But here's what you got to understand, though, Bill. That money can only be used for certain things.
Well, it should be used for a jail.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know how that went, and I'm not going to make that argument for them because the county needs to make that argument for themselves as to how they did it.
Well,
I don't know, and the only reason I'm not condemning them. I know that's not your jurisdiction. I know that's not your jurisdiction. Mm-hmm.
But there's 200 and the other big prisons that you got something to do with that one. You got some influence on that one?
Man, I ain't got no influence on any of them, man. Hardly, but I'm trying.
You got something to do with that?
I don't have any influence on it, but I'm trying.
All right.
You know, because but on a serious note,
right.
You know, you look at the number of people who are let's look at it like this.
Right.
China has nearly 4 times our population.
Mm-hmm.
We've got more people incarcerated in America than they do in China. Why are we incarcerating so many people? We incarcerate more people than any other industrialized country in the world.
Is that the problem? Is the industrial machinery behind it? Is it the furniture companies? Is it the soap companies that the brothers
every
are
time
producing?
You talk about doing something different, people come out the woodwork trying to stop you from doing it. So I know somebody's making money at it. So I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on who all the money people are that are involved in this. I mean, I know that there's some people there that have to provide the food. Okay.
Yeah,
what is that contract?
There's a lot of vendors.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vendors within the penal system. Being a former probation officer, there's a lot of vendors. And even black people don't have opportunities to be vendors in that process, even though they're locking us up.
That's
and
right.
So since they're locking us up, we might as well make some money. We might as well and make sure that our brothers are I mean, it's going to happen.
I'd rather for us not to be locked up first.
Right now, $350 million, is that the building, the staff, all the vendors, or is this just?
You know what?
That's a lot of money for just a building.
I haven't heard about it. I don't know what it's all going to be used for. I just heard $350 million and man, I went there because and I'm not saying that you use $350 million for something else. I'm just saying it ought not go to a jail because see, we always do the same thing. We wait till the jail gets extremely overcrowded. Then we come and want to talk about building another one. We've done that on 5 or 6 occasions here in this state where we put jails all over the place.
How many jails we got now? Like Tecumseh,
Well,
the Lincoln.
You got the Omaha Correctional Center. Don't forget that one.
Oh yeah, that one too.
Yeah, don't forget the Omaha Correctional Center. Don't forget the other correctional center for youth in East Omaha.
East Omaha.
Okay, and then you got LCC.
Yeah, the Lincoln Diagnostic.
Okay, then you got
Tecumseh.
D&E, and then you got Lincoln, and then you got Tecumseh.
That's a lot. That's a lot of prisons.
That's what I'm telling you.
I mean,
that's what I'm telling you.
And the population of Nebraska is less than 2 million.
Yes, and we're incarcerating people like crazy. But it's happening all over the country. Nebraska is just not the only one doing it. I don't want us to get to think that it's happening all over the country. And the point that I'm making is that every time we build a jail, the first thing we do is we fill it, and then we start talking about overcrowding, and then someone comes in, and then we build another jail. How many jails are we gonna have? And what's going to be the programming there to keep people from to reduce the recidivism rate? What are we going to do about that? Are we going to have those discussions? Are those discussions going to be included in this? Is there going to be programming? Have we set aside millions of dollars, which is what it's going to take? Have we set aside millions of dollars for programming for people when they get out? You know, if they've had substance abuse, what are we going to do about that? If they have mental illness issues, what are we going to do to address that? All of those things. And all we do is build jails, put mentally ill people in there, and let the corrections department deal with it and hope for the best.
And all that does is increase their psychosis.
Exactly.
That's all it does.
You would think there's a committee put together to kind of look at the numbers. How can we reduce it? I know jails make a lot of money, but with the programming that is required to kind of rehabilitate these inmates, you would think there'd be a committee put together to kind of face that challenge and get these programming services up to par so they can deal with all the people that are incarcerated. Right. Right.
And those are among the things that I want to talk to the Director of Corrections about next week. We've set up an appointment next week so that he and I can sit down and talk, because I think he needs to know, and he doesn't, and he needs to know that there are those of us who have concerns about this, because we know disproportionately who's going to fill those jails. We know disproportionately how much services they're going to get. We know all of that already. So if we're going to build another jail, and I hope we don't, I'm going to work like hell to make sure we don't. But if we do, what's the programming going to be like? I mean, you talked about that with young people. What are we going to do with our adults that are going to be getting out of here soon?
It's going to be required. I mean, so that's like a unicameral thing, far as
yes, that has to be another unicameral thing. No, if I had something to do with it on city council, no.
So I know both senators aren't for that. You know, the brother senators are not for that. But also we got some white senators that's not for that prison. So, but
we need to be supporting those who are against it.
Yeah, we need to support those that are against. So that's why I said we got to participate in the process as voters. We got to participate in the process and let our senators know how we feel, because right now sometimes they get lobbyists down at the unicameral, and we talking about 300 million. You talking about some big lobby checks, going to the table down at the unicameral.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I just gotta be for real, man. I go to DC and lobby. I'm with the lobbyists, and I know, man. Brother Ben, I was at the and a lot of people don't get shouts out to Lee Terry. A lot of people don't love Lee Terry, but I actually went to the Georgetown Club, and a lot of people don't go in there. Hamburgers $30, you know what I mean? And lobbyists from around the world in here trying to get into the Trump administration or to certain constituents. Man, I'm talking about they do it for real. So lobbying is for real. So, and it happens down in unicameral. And so we just gotta be wise who's leading us, and they gotta go with our agenda.
Yeah, and the first two subjects that we talked about, here's what I hope. I hope that people give this woman a chance. She hasn't made a vote yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Come on. Give her a chance. Understand that the council did go through a process. Now, we may not have all arrived at the same conclusion in the same ways that we did it, because what I did was, I looked at the list of people. I think we had 17 people on there. And this was how, and I'm just going to publicly say how I handled this. For me, it looked like I said, I looked at them, and I there were white men, there were white women, there were no minorities that I was aware of that had made application. So I had said to myself, first of all, I want to honor the wishes of the person who's leaving the seat.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna necessarily put all my eggs in that basket. But I do want to know what he thinks. But then secondly, I went out and talked to other people who know her, some black, some white. Okay. And got all the glowing responses back, black people and white people. She's thoughtful. She knows how to think. What I liked about her more than anything else is she got legislation passed at the federal level and the state level, which lets me know that, first of all, she understands the process. And secondly, she's willing to see a project through.
Right.
That's what I liked about her resume.
What kind of legislation was it?
On autism, profoundly disabled children.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
And because she comes from that.
Okay. Great.
And
great.
I'm going to let her tell her story. But man, when I sat and listened to her story, man, I would
love to have her come in. Anytime we can start dialogue. I'm always coming from the educational standpoint.
I'll ask her if she wouldn't mind being on. Because guys, I'm telling y'all, the story that she has to tell about what she went through and her profoundly disabled child and how that child passed away, and the fact that she couldn't find, and the fact that the people that came to her and supported her and helped her with those children, that child more than anything else, were people of color that she worked with. Yeah. And when the funeral came, and I'm gonna let her tell the rest of it, but when they were burying the child, her two black friends who had been taking care of her child daily, nightly, were standing at the back of the church, and I guess the place was filled or something, and the funeral person wouldn't let them in. And Colleen went back, opened the door, took her two folks, and sat them right there next to her, because this is family and that's where they belong.
All right.
Y'all got to hear her story.
Wow.
Y'all got to hear the story that should have been told.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Not the one they told.
Right.
Listen to the story that should have been told.
Without a doubt.
And when you hear that story, then that's going to be.
Ben, we'd love to have her come in. Like I said, I read her blog. I didn't think nothing was wrong with it. I always come from an academia standpoint, where we have freedom of speech. Aren't we in America? Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
So why should we be mad at someone because they wrote what they want to write?
Challenge it. Right, and challenge it with facts, rather than be all upset and angry and throwing tables and all that nonsense. Just respond to her with facts.
Without a doubt.
That's how you do that. So I'm hoping that in the first two instances, the first two subjects that we talked about, one, that people are going to be willing to give this woman a chance. And give her the chance that she didn't get in the article in the paper. Give her a chance. On the other thing, black folks specifically, man, we got to really address this jail thing. And we got to address it from a perspective of, I ain't necessarily concerned about you not building or not building, but I'm saying that where's the programming and how difficult is that going to be? And what money have you put in place? You demanded that we put money in place for the juvenile justice program, and we did. $10 million is in there to help get that started. And there's more on the way. And we've already started the programming so people need to know that as well. So if we're going to do programming to help create a situation where we're not having that revolving door, people going back and forth, Martine, in and out of jail,
right.
Until we got to set up programming so that we don't have that issue, and we got to be working at that. And so those are some of the conversations that I want to have with Director Frakes when we meet next week, because I want to share this with him before we get in front of a legislature and all that kind of stuff. He needs to know what some of us elected officials and a number of us who are black in this community think about that.
Right.
That's right.
Now, Brother Ben, how can we stop the continuum of people going? Because first it's the contact of brothers and sisters that's on the street. There's a still high contact rate of brothers, us being pulled over. I do want to look at the numbers because I did hear some statistics that Black people actually call the police more than other populations of the community, which also might.
I don't know about this. I don't know about Omaha. I know that's true nationally.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a fact nationally. I don't know about it. I don't know the data for Omaha.
Okay. I would love to hear that data because sometimes if we're gonna really look at the numbers, because it'll be skewed because of the high contact. But if there's a high call rate, that would also justify that high contact rate with Black folks. So I would love to hear those numbers. But regardless, when it comes to car contacts, that's usually when they see some kind of infraction, light, signal. How can we address that? Has that been even addressed with the chief? Because I know the chief is he's open to dialogue.
You know, the police department, the Omaha Police Department has changed so much. Mm-hmm. I think it would be beneficial for you to have the chief on to talk about it now, because less than 50% what they do now, my understanding, is law enforcement. I mean, they're involved in a number of other things. For example, and I'll give you an example. I had a lady who had mental issues. Mm-hmm. And, I was called to her home. And by the time I got there, police were there. But police had already called Lutheran Family Services and they have a joint.
So they did initiate that.
They initiated
where they're gonna have a mental health professional go out.
The police initiated it.
Great. Yeah. Great. Okay.
So, because when I got there, the team was there, and the team was a place from. I think it was not Lasting Hope. It was I can't think of the place for substance abuse in Southeast Omaha. It'll come to me in a minute. But anyway, by the time I got there, that team was there. Okay. Lutheran Family Services, the police, and they had relinquished authority, the police did, to Lutheran Family Services.
Okay, good.
To address this woman's issues. Now, let me tell y'all, this was about 2 years ago. Okay. So this is how long they've been doing. This is how long they've been doing it. And I don't know how long they've been planning it, but this was 2 years ago that this happened. So they were already down the road, not saying anything about it. They were just the police were just doing it.
Okay.
And the other thing, please, let's don't discount what we know to be true. There are rotten police officers on everybody's force.
Yeah, without a doubt.
No, I have no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt in my mind about that. There's no doubt in my mind there's a few rotten apples on the Omaha Police Department. But when you got the leadership at the top that really is digging down and addressing issues and changing the profile of what the police department now looks like, and with the 360 meetings and all the other things that we do regularly to stay in contact with police and police staying in contact with the community, we have started to kind of turn the corner on this thing. But we still have to, you got to understand that, though. You got to understand that we still got to be vigilant. As people, the chief still has to be vigilant as the chief. His command staff has to be vigilant as the command staff. And part of the reason for the contract and the additional year of where a person is on, where a police officer that's hired, whether it be he or she, is on probation for 2 years instead of 1, that's so that the chief can look at them real good in a situation where they're driving by themselves. You have to remember, when they first start out, there's 14 or 16 weeks of training or something like that. And then there's another 4 to 6 months riding with a seasoned officer. So you don't get to ride by yourself until you've been on the force nearly a year. So the chief doesn't have a chance to look at how you operate
in the field,
in the field, to know if you're a good officer or bad or by yourself.
So he extended the probation period?
Well, that was what we agreed to in the contract.
That's great, man.
They've extended the probation period.
Man, that's great. Okay, that's very proactive. Also, our brother Hudson, who's soon to be our deputy chief, our deputy sheriff.
Well, if I have anything to say about it, he's going to be our sheriff, but we'll go with that.
Now, he talked about, and I love this idea, a very proactive deal where, police seize cash, drugs, they got sent it to DC, and DC get their cut, and then they send it back to local enforcement, they get their cut as far as money wise, and they usually send police officers for training and stuff like that. But what he said that he want to use that money to set up profit grants for for people like U-Turn and other nonprofit organizations, so they can use that money to be on the proactive end. And I think that those are great initiative, and also that those are our initiative where it'll build that community police relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. Wayne has a lot of really good ideas. Wayne, I hope, is going to run for the sheriff's position.
I hope so too.
And I intend to give him 150% of my support, because I think he's doing a good job. I think he has innovative ideas. I think he's very smart. I think he's innovative. I think he has concerns for the entire community, and specifically the African-American community. So he's going to be a guy that I'm going to support, if he runs. I hope he does run for sheriff, because I think he would be really good at it. And I think this community would benefit from his service and benefit from his ideas.
Any other specific things in the police contract that was on the proactive end? Because that's really significant, where you can really look at that officer in the field for another year and evaluate him, and he can still be fired versus not going through arbitrary and get their job back.
And there's no arbitration. There's during that probationary period, you're terminated. That's it. There's nothing else.
Right. Oh man, that's great.
And if you got a questionable officer, we also have that you can extend that probation.
Okay.
So and part of the reason we did that is because it's hard to get at arbitration. Because
you never win.
You'll never win arbitration, and you'll end up in the Court of Industrial Relations, and it'll end up costing us way more money, and we may end up not only will we not win arbitration, but we may lose something else that we won when we go down there. So that's a crapshoot, and that's a crapshoot that I'm not willing to engage in. So that was the reason for supporting the contract and supporting it the way we did, because of those things. And I explained to a couple of people about the arbitration process and why it would be difficult for council members to do that, because then you'd have to answer the taxpayers, and that could be a pretty hefty bill if you go down there and lose, especially. So, we didn't want to run the risk of losing. So, and we knew we would have, because what they do is they compare it to they compare. If you have arbitration, they compare the comparable cities is what they do. Oh. And there's 7 other comparable cities, and I know Oklahoma City was one. I don't know if they still are. Minneapolis was one. Cincinnati was one. There were several, cities in the array that they look at. And all of those cities, the police departments have arbitration. So the likelihood of us winning that, our chances were they weren't even slim, they were none. We had no chance of winning that.
Wow.
We didn't, there was no sense trying it. And, we had to work hard to make the public understand that we couldn't go after arbitration. We couldn't go after it the way they wanted us to, because of those reasons. So, that's kind of where we are with that. But like I said, with the first 2 subjects, one, I hope people take seriously about this thing about building jails and without programming, without some idea as to what you're going to do with people, once you get them in there, to get them so that they're not repeat offenders. We got to be
programming while they're in there and
afterwards as well. Yes, we need to do that.
Just like they have to go and see their probation officer.
Yes,
they should be directed to go to some type of program.
Exactly. If it's substance abuse, they need a 12-step program or whatever, and they need to be committed to it, and we need to monitor it. But it needs to be something like that. And in the case of the city council person that we picked, please, everybody, give her a chance. God, give her a chance. Don't do what this story did, man. Don't beat her up before she has a chance to even take a vote. Come on, over something that if we sat down and talked about it, we could come to some reasonable meeting of the minds. The thing that bothers me most about what I see today in politics in general and in the community, we just have people sometimes who are just so vicious and mean and feel as though they can say anything they want to say, and that's not the society we are.
Yeah.
That's not the people that we want to be.
I think these last 4 years, people have come out of the woodwork and and they feel they can say whatever they want, no matter what.
Exactly. Well, there's a correlation between these last 4 years.
That's why I'm making it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm making it.
There is a direct correlation.
I mean, we've seen people come out the woodwork. We would have never seen them.
Yeah, and say things
otherwise.
that you would have never heard them say otherwise.
Yeah. So it's all about like being bold. Everyone's like this bold person now.
Oh yeah.
You know, and say whatever they want.
Yeah.
And they don't, and so a lot of times they're discussions either.
No, and they send emails to the council. We want you to get rid of this woman and put my guy in, and you know, stop doing all these silly votes and stuff like that. Well, I got something for him. I'll explain it to him in a way that he'll understand it. You know, because you know we did do the process. We went through the process. We picked a woman who I think is who is going to end up being a really good council person, even if she's only there for 6 months. I think she's going to. I think we're going to learn a lot from her, and she's going to learn a lot from us. But I think she's going to be.
She's only going to be around for 6 months.
Well, no, because remember we're only filling the seat, so she's got to run again.
Yeah, for re-election. Yeah.
Okay, she's got to run for re-election. So
that's right.
You know, again, and that's the other thing, Martine. I'm glad you brought that up. That's the other thing. She's only going to be there. She's going to be there 6 months. You know, 6 months.
And they're attacking her.
Yeah, and they already
know she's only going to be there. Well, I don't know. Maybe they should know.
You know.
Well, you know now she's only going to be there for 6 months.
Yeah, I mean because she's got to run again. You know, and she's only filling the seat left by that was vacated by Senator Pauls when he got elected. Well, I call him Senator Pauls now when he got elected to the legislature. Okay, so
and that's how the seat came open.
That's how the seat came open. Okay, and so now she's filling that seat, and is only going to be there. She's only going to be there for 6 months. I mean, come on.
Wow.
Come on, give her a chance. God.
Well, she's in there, so they don't have no choice.
Yeah. And we're going to be supportive of her.
Yeah.
We're going to be supportive of her, right? And I think
and go read her blog. Yeah, and not the article.
Please don't read the article, man. That the way that thing was written, man, I'm oh God, that was horribly written article.
Now, Brother Ben, on the city level, okay, what's new? What's on the horizon? Because you know the coronavirus, I heard it mutated. It's going to be more dollars on the city level coming down, or are they going to judge us like if we're not meeting the population of $500,000?
Yeah,
I mean $500,000.
It's not going to be a city thing, you know, because we don't. The city itself, we have about I think it's 481,000 people, so we're not at the 500,000 mark. So the county
is that going to change under Biden when he
don't know. I don't know what we're going to do under Biden. You know, that's still yet to be seen. And I don't even want to speculate as to what it's going to look like. But I know he's going to be aggressive about addressing this virus.
Okay.
And so I know that's going to happen. So I know that there will be dollars that will be available. I know, you know, our current president finally signed the bill last night. So at least some people will get that. But you know, I don't know what Biden is going to do. President-elect Biden is going to do. But man, you know, it's we got a serious situation that we need to address, and we're going to address it as best we can. You know, so I don't know how the money is going to flow.
So the money's been managed by the county then?
Yeah, it's not the city because we don't have 500,000 people. If it came directly to us.
All right.
Then we would manage it the way the city wants to manage it. But the county is a little bit bigger than the city, and they do have the $500,000 threshold, so the money goes to them. But to me, they've been fairly reasonable about it as best they could. You know, some people think they probably could have done it better. I don't know. I'm not on that side of the house. I do know that there were a lot of things that were put in place that I think are going to be beneficial long term and short term. But just exactly how the county works, I'm not 100% up on that like I am the city.
On the in regards to just individuals accessing funds to pay their gas bill and light bills, the county, you know, put in different rules which limit your constituents' opportunities to access those dollars to pay even for rent. People are still getting evicted. The county, and I know that's not your responsibility. So, has there been some, especially this year coming up, and we've seen the mistakes of last year, that they didn't spend all the money. And because of they asked too many questions.
Well, I'm understanding now, Bill, is that the money that was given to the nonprofits and others for rent and mortgage and stuff like that, they still have dollars left.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Okay,
that's the problem.
They were allocated by the county to those entities. Mm-hmm. Well, they just haven't used it all yet.
Well, usually those again, they're in the same rules, the same rules by the county. The county set the rules in regards to access to funds.
Except not the December 31st rule. That December 31st is a federal rule.
Right.
Yeah, that's a federal rule.
So, is there any kind of negotiation with the county officials to make the streamline that where people can access more of those dollars? Because I had Tim Birkin here from OPPD, and we also talked about just the questions that the county required of regular citizens to access those funds. They're still, I know the traditional nonprofits that normally give out those dollars, they had no problem usually. But when you go to the county website, you got to go through the county protocol. People could not get access to those dollars because they asked too many questions. I think the SBA only asked 8 questions. The SBA only asked 8 questions, and they was giving out thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and they were giving it out to places that they shouldn't have been giving it to. But
but they made the process easier, and I know our people are suffering. I get calls all the time. People are being evicted, and just based of because they can't answer the questions that the county required.
Bill, here, you know what? Let me tell people that, I read all my emails, check all my voice messages and all of that.
Do you really?
Yes. Yes.
Impressive.
I read and I don't respond to all of them because some people talk crazy and I ain't getting into the crazy talk.
Right.
but I do read them.
Okay.
I ain't getting in all that. You're not going to bake me into making me say something to you that I don't really want to say.
Right.
So some of those things I don't read, but when I read them and I want to tell you, most people, when you go into it, you think most people are going to say, well, he's going to probably get a lot of complaints about police. He's going to get a lot of complaints about, and certainly now with this city council woman that they brought in, we're going to get a whole lot of calls about that. I got none. The calls that I'm getting are the ones you're getting. People are being evicted.
Yep.
People are being mistreated in places that they rent. Their rent's going up. They're being asked to pay for more things than they should be paying for in their lease.
Right.
That's the things I'm hearing. And people are being put out of their homes. And Bill, this is going to get worse before it gets better.
Yep. And that's why it got to be some dialogue between yourself. I mean, you the man, the real, the legend. I mean, everybody else. That they succumb. They succumb to the pressure, man. They succumb, man, for real. They succumb, man. I'm just so disappointed because, like I said, people for real. I mean, honestly, I got people around here that's homeless. You know what I mean? And I mean,
so what are people?
Yeah, but the homeless problem has a lot to do with the way that this virus was the way we first handled this virus. I mean, to be the wealthiest country in the world, and at the same time, we are suffering more from this virus than any other country in the world.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, Brother Ben, when you don't love thy neighbor, then God's gonna get you. And so obviously we're not loving our neighbor. You see how we treated our own people, Black people on this, especially in this continent. And how we treat each other, period. Within our own families, it's
we got personal things we got to work on.
Yeah,
there's no question.
Yeah, as a people.
Yeah, as a people. We got personal.
Yeah, we got a lot of personal.
We got personal. But the other side of that coin, that people will never understand is, and this is what I say to white people all the time when they ask me to speak, and we start talking about reparations. What's the price for me losing what my real religion was? what's the price for not having access back to my ancestors?
Mm-hmm.
What's the price for all of that? What's the price for me not knowing, growing up in my culture, in my country? What's the price for that?
Mm-hmm.
And when they start talking about that, and I say, you know, when we're talking about reparations, I think there are things that we need to be doing, that we need to continue to have dialogue and conversation about, but we need some action as well. And what I'm saying, and I said all that to say, we have always been the victims in this country, always, from the day we got here almost until today. Do you know, we have been the victims in this country. And they talk about affirmative action. It never worked. And they never did it right. And they found ways to make it look like it didn't work so that they could eliminate it. You know, that's what I'm saying. When whites write things like that, you respond to that with facts. Affirmative action never worked because you never let it work. Okay, all of these what social programs are you talking about? You've been cutting. You've been cutting welfare and food stamps and everything since the Reagan administration. So tell me what social program you're talking about, because none of that has grown at all. You know, and Medicare, Medicaid, we passed that 2 years ago. This governor's just not trying to do something about it. Yeah, come on, y'all. Yeah, you know, I mean, we got to stop. We got to be a little bit more intentional in our thought and how we think and how we look at people. And this is something that I say to some of my young friends all the time. Stop playing checkers and learn how to play chess. Right. Because that's what we're doing here. Yeah. We're playing chess, not checkers. Right. And so you got to be thinking moves ahead. And that's what I tell people all the time about. So, you know, yeah, we got some issues that we got to work out, but our issues were caused by the situation that we found ourselves in. So to blame us entirely would be ridiculous. Right. Take the drug war, for example. When drugs first came here, people wanted to keep it in the Black community, make their money off the Black community. But what I tell whites all the time, what you see happening to us today is going to happen to you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. It's a matter of time.
You put them drugs in our community yesterday. Now you got meth and fentanyl and all kind of other crap in your community today.
Oh yeah, man. See, they must don't believe in God. You know what I mean? I mean, don't they go to church? You reap what you sow. I mean, I thought Reverend Kelly. Shouts out to Greater New Hope Baptist Church. You know, that's what they taught me.
So what else you want to talk about?
Hey, bro, take some water. You want some water?
I'm good, man.
Okay, you good? Okay, all right. Are you been talking?
You on a roll?
Yeah, I'm on a roll now.
Okay, all right. So
the last thing is what you brought me here for in the first place. Okay, I do intend to run for city council for another term.
Okay, but okay, good. Before you get out here, but I'm gonna challenge you to some push-ups because the last politician was 83.
Oh man, I ain't doing 83 push-ups.
No, he's age 83. Senator Cherry did 20 push-ups, so I know you can at least.
I can squeeze 20.
Okay. We're gonna do that. I'm gonna challenge him. I'm gonna see if he's in shape, y'all. You know, because he came up these stairs. He looking sharp. So I gotta challenge him. So you're running for a re-election.
City council, yeah.
Okay, so this is what, number 4? Okay, so at any time then.
Yes. What do you mean anytime?
Any time. So you're not retiring on life?
No, I'm not retiring right. Well, not right now. I've already retired from 2 places. So.
Okay.
So why are you running again?
Well, a couple of things, Martine. I'm glad you asked. A couple of things, and we'll talk more as the campaign starts to get going. But Bill hit the nail on the head. We got a serious housing crisis. Serious. And it's got to be addressed. And I'm looking at a couple of different things. I'm looking at tiny houses, you know, in some sort of fashion that we do it. And I'm also looking at container houses. You know, container houses are a little bit easy. I think there's a little bit more work to them, but you can put a container house together in about 4 to 6 to 8 weeks.
Not very long, yeah.
Not very long. Even in a tiny house, you still got to build the foundation and do all those things. So it takes 4 to 6 months to do that. So while I'm intrigued by tiny houses, I'm not sure that it's practical for the crisis that we're getting ready to face. And we need to do some things about that, or else or the homeless population that you see out here now, that thing's going to double or triple if we don't do something.
Because you see how Denver is right now.
Yes.
And Denver's one example of they're not building affordable housing.
No.
And now there's nowhere to build affordable housing now.
Now, see, we got some places.
Right.
We got places. We just need to decide. We just need to kind of gauge how serious our problem is going to be and what resources it's going to take to at least to begin to solve it.
Spencer, Southside Terrace.
Yeah.
Both properties they're talking about getting rid of. You're talking about 600 to 1,000 families?
Yeah, but let me tell you about that though, Bill, because we made a mistake the first time, and I was included in that mistake, quite frankly. When we did the first one, we did the
Hilltop.
first Bill community. When we did Hilltop,
Yeah, hey, they still owe me money. They still owe me money.
Yeah, we still did Hilltop. When we did Hilltop,
Right.
we displaced those people thinking that we would get them back, and we didn't.
Where did they go?
And we didn't know how. That's the other problem.
Where did they
we
go?
didn't know where they went.
So they probably just found housing
Someplace else and somewhere all over
the community.
And so
So
this
the plan
time,
was for them to come back?
that was the plan. But we screwed it up. I'm gonna tell you, we did. We lost contact with people, some people, so forth. So with this project with Spencer, they're going to have first right of refusal, and we're going and I think the way they got it set up is they're going to build first before they start moving people out.
Okay.
So they can have the first right of refusal if they want.
Okay. Great.
So they're going to find a place to build.
Yes.
Or have they already?
Well, you know what stage 2 is. All of that property there, so they're going to build in the front first and then go back. Start going back. That's my understanding. Now that may have changed.
So they're gonna build on the opposite side of the street where
no. They're gonna remember where the parking lot is, where stage 2 across the street.
Yeah,
They're gonna start there.
Okay.
And then start going. So we don't lose people this time.
Oh, great.
Why wasn't that done the first time? I mean, if you're transferring people, if that's the intent, is to move them from this place to that place, why wouldn't you have built first?
Martine, that was our intent, but we screwed up. And
because you didn't build first, or what?
Because we displaced them before we built.
Okay.
Yeah, they moved them out before they built.
That's what I'm saying. Why they didn't build before you? Is that the screw up?
No, the screw up was that. No, it wasn't necessarily that. We should have gotten more information.
Oh.
Because the way this one was, there was no place to build without moving people. Before we built.
But you had to move them.
Yeah, you had to move them. There was no place. Yeah, there was because you had to build. So you had to move them. But that was a screw up we did, and I was in on it. I was part of it. We messed that one up.
Ben, is there going to be opportunity since this is going to be building on that 30th Street corridor, and they changed the streeting so traffic will be slower? Is there going to be retail at the bottom? Possible retail at the bottom of some of those apartments?
I would think so. It is over there, so I would imagine they would do the same thing down there that they did at Highlander. Man, they got Big Mamas in there. They've got the coffee shop in there. They've got another.
They got the universities in there. And Creighton and Metro.
They got Creighton and Metro in there. They've got there's 3 food places in there. I know Big Mamas. I know there are 2 other places. I don't remember what they are. And then you got the coffee shop downstairs.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that they're going to do something similar to what. I'm speculating, guys.
Okay.
So don't take what I say as gospel.
Are you gonna have some involvement in the planning, or the citizens gonna have some involvement in the planning?
Well, my understanding is that they already have. Now, if I've missed it, then
right.
But my understanding is that they already have.
Okay.
And the plan is already in place, and they've already gone to the community.
Okay.
So the next part of that now is to begin the building process.
Cool.
But you mentioned, but that's one of the reasons why we got to solve the problem of housing. We got to address that. There's some other things we have to do, but I'll talk about that as the campaign heats up. Okay.
Entrepreneur, Miss Side Hustle right here.
Hey man, I told her, you know what?
We need more money. We need more money
in the door.
We need more money, baby. We
Yeah,
need more money.
When I told her when she walked in the door, I said every time and I don't get on Facebook as much as I would like to, but when I get on Facebook and I see that smile, I'm so proud of this woman. I don't know what to do, but I'm proud of you and the work you did to get the Macy's project. I'm proud of the other work that you're doing to expand the reach of your radio station with your negotiations with the OHA towers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, Bill, when you started off with this, Ben, will you back me if I do? I said, yeah, I'm gonna back you. And then you kept going, you called, and I'd give you advice, you called, and then you do some other things. Then you got with Lee Terry and some other folks in between, Republicans and Democrats.
Oh yeah, both sides, baby.
We got you a place.
Well, you know, a lot of people don't know the journey, because actually this is the 6-year anniversary today.
Yeah,
we've been on the air for 6 years today.
Well,
and so
I didn't know it was today. Happy anniversary,
right? Happy anniversary.
Yeah, 6 years today. And it was initially, like I said, I tell everybody that when they tried to shut the radio station down in the early days, I made calls, and I made an elder call, and I made a call to Ben, and he said, all right, I'll call you back. And he called me back and said, Bill, you can stay. I said, hooray. And so, you know, my mom always taught me, and these are the ethics that I learned in Hilltop Projects. She always taught me, if someone treats you good, you treat them better, because you're going to need them one day. And so just remember those ethics. And this is the reason why I want to thank my mama, man, the one that couldn't read or write, but she made sure that I was able to read and write. So the journey and how I got the internet station is because of that continuum of you, Lee Terry, and other individuals that made sure I got a yes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It wasn't no money, but a yes was like money.
Sure was.
Yes is the money, baby. Without a doubt.
I'm glad you're expanding, and we got to help you expand.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, man.
The next effort. I got to get out of here and get somebody some dinner.
Okay.
Otherwise, I might not get. Otherwise, I might be asking y'all for. You got some room on the couch?
You're gonna have a housing problem. Huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a housing problem.
Okay. Hey, Omaha. I know we got a lot of questions out there, but we just want to have a candid conversation with our congressman. We're gonna be bringing him back, and we're gonna be asking him specific campaign questions. We're gonna actually take some questions from the community next time we bring him here. He ain't scared of y'all. He ain't scared of y'all questions.
Please.
And so we're gonna set it up. We're gonna make sure that the next one is questions from the community. Me and Martine will moderate, but we're gonna have the questions coming from the community because I want to make sure that's a promise here at 95.7 The Boss. But today was our 6-year anniversary. We wouldn't be on, and a lot of people, I don't tell a lot of people my business, but we wouldn't actually be on the air without Ben. I'm telling you, people try to, people got a lot of zeros behind their names, try to make moves and stuff like that. And Ben make sure that they didn't make a move on the brother. All right. And so I want to make sure that y'all guys know that the reason why I support him. Without his support, we wouldn't be on the air today. And so I want to thank you personally also for the continuum of supporting a young brother in his quest, to do better in the community.
Bill, let's do this. When we get done here, tomorrow I'll give you a call. We'll set up a day next week so that the community will ask questions, and I'll come in again next week.
Great.
We'll do it. I'll set it up so that we can talk about what we're going to do tomorrow, so you can promote it for a couple of weeks so that people can get their questions ready.
Great.
I don't mind answering questions.
Great. All right. So we got a promise here. He bought it here. I see Ben bring bread on 42nd and Bedford, right. It's a grocery store right there.
Yeah.
He didn't go to that grocery store. He brought bread from somewhere else. I don't know where he bought the bread at, and they start feeding it to kids. I said, man, that's a bad dude. That's a bad dude.
We got to take care of each other.
Without doubt. I appreciate you, Ben. Without doubt, keep doing what you're doing.
No
tell the missus hello, because I know last time, boy, nobody messed with your missus, boy. No, nobody messed with your missus. Without doubt, hey, I can't wait to the campaign. We're looking forward to it. Seeing what initiative, but again, the community, we're gonna be bringing Ben back in 2 weeks. All the questions are gonna come from you. All right, we promise that. Any last word, Martine?
Nope, not at all. Everyone, go ahead and have a great rest of your Monday evening, and we'll be back in the morning for the Boss Morning Show at 7 a.m. Make sure you keep it locked in here.
Without that, boss with us.
Boss with us.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Appreciate the time. I got to go get some lunch. I'm gonna get it soon because when we were sitting here talking,
It's just a public service announcement.
Are you tired of hearing about the coronavirus? Well, it's real.
I'm telling you, it's real.
Now, here's what I want you all to do for me. Check this out, man.
Don't panic. If you're sick, stay home. Stay at least 6 feet away from others.
The most dangerous disease.
Coronavirus.
Wash your hands frequently and practice good hygiene.
Show these people what time it is, boy.
We can stop the spread of the virus.
Coronavirus.
Cover your mouth. Say it.
So stay home. Stop the spread. Save lives. Most importantly, let's check on our elderly.
Word up. You ain't going out like this.
We're here to keep you informed.
Coronavirus. Just get it real.
In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.
Are you a business person fed up with working for someone else? Are you in sales and tired of traveling for and selling for a company you don't own?
All right.
Partner with iTex, the country's largest retail trade exchange. iTex helps individuals and businesses increase sales, move idle inventory, open new markets, and build cash profit. Now is a great time to partner with us in this fast-growing business. Visit omaha.itex.com. Become an iTex partner. Visit omaha.itex.com.
All right, Omaha, Nebraska. I forgot before we get out of here. We got a challenge. I got a challenge being the 20 push-ups. He almost got out of here. So before we get out of here, y'all, we appreciate you guys. All the questions. I apologize not answering all the questions, but again, we're gonna bring Ben back, and it's gonna be all questions from the community. You know why? Because we run our own stuff, and so he's married and stuff. So. Yeah, this is still. Hopefully, they're still good, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got some holiday cookies left.
All right. What mic you on, Martin? You on number 4?
I'm on number 2. Number 2.
Now, Martin, you miss all the taxes and stuff. What's the people be doing at the end of the year?
At the end of the year, and I'm glad you asked that, King, because on Tuesdays, if you follow me on Facebook Live, I do Tax Tuesday talk, letting people know how to get ready for the tax season. Let them know what's new for 2021 that they can write off. One new thing is that you can
move that mic around.
You can claim up to $300 on charitable contributions.
Okay.
And you don't have to itemize to do that. It used to be that you had to itemize in order to claim charitable contributions. So that charitable contributions is donations to like the Goodwill, Salvation Army, tithe and offering at your church. All that kind of thing. So now you can do it as an individual, up to $300.
What about?
And you still have a few days to contribute because December 31 is the end, last day of the year.
Yep. December 30. Yep.
Yeah.
No, but what if we give money to a person that's panhandling? Does that count?
No, it has to be an approved charitable organization, 501c3 that the IRS recognizes.
Oh, okay.
So as long as they have that status, they're good. So it could be, any organization with that status.
Okay.
That you're donating to.
All right, yeah. So churches, nonprofits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and they can write off $300. You don't have to itemize. So this right, $300. Don't have to say church and all this.
Well, it's going to ask you what organization. You just put in whatever if it's Open Door Mission, if it's Goodwill, whoever. Okay. But up to $300 that you weren't able to write off before. So remember, you're always trying to reduce your taxable liability, and write-offs do that.
Write-offs.
Remember that term, write-offs.
Now, business are you recommending people start businesses next year?
Absolutely. Because as a non-business taxpayer, the only thing that you can really write off, in addition to what we just talked about, the charitable contribution, is maybe if you belong to a union, you have to clean your uniform. So for our blue collar workers, and employer does not reimburse you,
Okay.
you can write off union dues, uniform cleaning. But it's that's pretty much it.
That's it. So
as a business, you can write off a lot more things as it relates to your business, down to supplies, paper towels, even because you have to clean your office. And you can claim your home office deduction if you have a small office in your apartment or your home.
Okay.
So basic things like that you use for your business, you can write off.
All right.
All the way up to vehicles.
All the way up to vehicles.
So everything in between. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Heck yeah. So I'm telling you, we encourage you guys to start businesses. We got to start doing it for self. We got to start doing for self, without a doubt.
Absolutely. And we need to know the tax code was built and meant for small business owners.
Okay. So
that's why we have the advantage.
Right.
Yes. So understand that, people.
So right now.
So when you cry about all these taxes you got to pay as a single person, because they get hit the hardest because they don't have any dependents to capitalize on. They don't have that extra, exemption, personal exemption for the kids. And so single people get hit the hardest. So if you don't have a business, just get ready to write that check.
Yep.
You're going to owe.
Yeah, you're going to owe.
Chances are you're going to owe.
So let's start a business this year. Hey, we're trying to get y'all the bag, baby. We're
trying to get to the bag. Yeah, that's right.
Hey, right now, we got brother Councilman Ben Gray. I'm challenging him to 20 push-ups because that's what I do.
Well, let's get it.
That's what I do, Martin. I don't care they 83. I don't care they 70. I don't care they 70, 35.
He's 70 years strong, okay, King? So watch out now.
Ain't no excuse. No excuse.
Well, come on, quit talking and get over here.
Age before beauty. Age before beauty. You want to do 20? Yeah, go ahead and do your 20, man. Go ahead and do your 20, Councilman. I'm gonna match you, Councilman. You gonna match what I do? I'm gonna match you, Councilman.
Okay. Let me see what I can do here.
Okay, we got you on camera.
Okay. I got him on camera.
1.
You can't get
2,
away.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. All right, King. 30. Way to go, Councilman. Councilman Ben Gray just did 30 sit-ups. All right, King. All right. 1. All right. That was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 24. King only did 24. He lost. That's pretty good, both of y'all. Good. Hey. So that goes to show you, if you stay healthy, eat the right things, you can stay healthy at the age of 70 plus. Right, exactly. Good job, Councilman.
Okay. I'll be ready for him next time, Martin. I'll be training. So I think I'm set up.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's a setup, y'all.
All right.
Yeah, it's a setup.
All right.
We got a strong senior citizen.
Right. All right. Thank you. Have a good evening. All right, too.
We got strong citizens up.
That's right.
Omaha.
Exactly.
You better watch out for our citizens.
All right. Way to go. Man. Way to go.
All right, Omaha, we out of here. Hopefully we brought a smile to your face. Hopefully also we brought a little bit of knowledge to your brain.
All right.
We out of here. Boss with us.
Boss with us.
Oh, I'm tired.
Attention everyone, it's not a game clothing. Introducing you to something new, fresh
fresh and different. Grand opening Saturday, December the 5th. It's the new location, 2818 North 24th Street, Suite 104, opening at noon. For more information, contact Bozelli, 402-917-3988. That's 402-917-3988. Or It's Not a Game Promotions LLC at gmail.com. It's Not a Game Clothing, something new, fresh, and different.
This is an important message from the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. This season, flu vaccine is more important than ever.
Getting a flu shot now helps protect against the flu and preserves hospital capacity during the pandemic. Take action. Protect yourself, your family, and your community by getting your flu vaccine.
Contact your provider or go to vaccinefinder.org to find flu vaccine near you.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
We got to stand for what's right and what's true. And what's true is our community is in need of help. And we can all do something about it. We have to start with our health. The NOAA Clinic on 5620 Ames Ave screens for everything for free. That's STDs, HIV, blood pressure, and blood sugar. All for free. We must change now. Get a grip on our health. Call us for any questions at 402-933-0737. Remember, it doesn't hurt to be on the safe side. Nobody knows like no.
The state of Nebraska is committed to helping local organizations through this difficult time. Reopened grants are available now to assist even more charitable organizations and centers of worship that have been impacted by COVID-19. Qualified applicants can be awarded funds for operating expenses and PPE. Funds will be distributed until they run out, and they do not need to be paid back. View requirements and apply by November 13th at coronavirus.nebraska.gov.
Metro Transit is launching the biggest public transportation development our city has seen in decades. Orbit, Omaha's rapid transit line, launches on November 18th. Orbit will offer fast, safe, and reliable service between downtown and West Road. And Orbit will be fare-free through March. Learn more about Orbit at oldmetro.com.
Have you been discriminated against at home, at work, or in your community, or maybe evicted as a result of COVID-19? The Human Rights and Relations Department for the City of Omaha would like to be a resource. You have rights, and it is our job to protect those rights. Please contact the City of Omaha Human Rights and Relations Department to find out how we can help you. You can reach us via phone at 402-444-5055 or online at humanrights.cityofomaha.org.
Get your mind right. Here at the NOAA Clinic on 5620 Ames Ave, we want you to get your mind right. Get a grip on your mental health. It's okay to talk about your issues. It's okay to seek help. We all need to get our minds right, especially in this pandemic. So give us a call to make an appointment at 402-933-0737. Remember, Black mental health matters. And never forget, Black health matters. NOAA Clinic, here for the community. Put on that mask. Get your blood pressure checked. What about that blood sugar? I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you what to do, you know what I'm saying? Come into the NOAA Clinic on 5620 Ames Ave, where we keep the community healthy, as always. That's right, nobody knows like Noah. Give us a call at 402-933-0737. Don't let this pandemic get you down. Come on, y'all. Never forget, Black health matters. Say it with me. Black health matters.
The state of Nebraska is committed to helping local organizations through this difficult time. Reopened grants are available now to assist even more charitable organizations and centers of worship that have been impacted by COVID-19. Qualified applicants can be awarded funds for operating expenses and PPE. Funds will be distributed until they run out, and they do not need to be paid back. View requirements and apply by November 13th at coronavirus.nebraska.gov.
Choppers make them do the Harlem shake. Hey, trap money, hey, soul finance, hey, trap money, hey, push star, hey, race star, hey, never fall, hey, good tar, hey, play with racks, hey, trap star, hey, bread far, hey, money cars, hey, cook hard, hey, white chalk, hey, non-stop, hey, choppers make it do the Harlem shake.
YSL, ayy, Saint Laurent, ayy, smart curve TV, smart car, ayy, grab Carter, ayy, let it spark, ayy, grab a jet, ayy, let's depart, ayy,
cake, swing, block, blazing hard, ayy. Ayy, let the Lamborghini yours talk, ayy. The chopper could pop it, just feel it, walk, ayy. Ayy, reach your tongue with a, ayy.
Trap money, ayy. Soul binders, ayy. Trap money, ayy. Push star, ayy. Race tar, ayy. Never fall, ayy. Good tar, ayy. Play with racks, ayy. Trap star, ayy. Bread far, ayy. Money cars, ayy. Cook hard, ayy. White chalk, ayy. Non-stop, ayy. Choppers make him do the Harlem shake. Ray Charles, ayy. You can still see him shine. Rag razor, ayy. Come through the trap line. Ran out garage, baby. Raw cake. Hey, all this gas, something I open up a gas station. Spent a kilo on a meat coat. Hey, shorty want some Henny and Coke. Hey, rats everywhere, Apple. Hey, choppers make them do the Harlem shake. Trap money, hey, snow miners, hey. Trap money, hey, push star, hey. Race tar, hey, never fall, hey. Good tar, hey, play with racks, hey. Trap star. Bread fire, money cars, cook hard, eh? White chalk, eh? Stop, eh? Choppers make him do the Harlem shake, all over.
Ocean views, small circle, it's a chosen few. I wrote it down and I followed through. I bought a pound and we rode the fuel. I talk shit, but she know it's true. Ocean views, small circle, it's a chosen few. I wrote it down and I followed through. I bought a pound and we rode the fuel. I talk shit, but she know it's true. Blessings, it's in my section. Yo, with all this money, I'm obsessive. Weapons, turning off y'all extras, turning off this bullshit direction, turning up my grind, waking up to more pressure, but it's all in your mind, so I never feel pressure. Know it's all in due time. Now running stacking like Tetris. Hustle hard is my message. Then double back and get extras. Know I spaz when I catch it. Yellow bone, white Lexus. All black tint, two white cups, fat gold chain, Sprite Texas. I'm just young and I'm reckless. I'm just over my section. I'm just out here on top speed with my top down and I'm revving. I don't know about hell. I don't know about heaven. All I know is about right now, and this lifestyle is interesting. Ice down in my session, I just write down his confessions. Daddy got life around me, I guess that I'm an exception. Blessed ocean views, small circle, it's a chosen few. I wrote it down and I followed through. I bought a pound and we rode the fuel. I talk shit, but she know it's true. Ocean views, small circle, it's a chosen few. I wrote it down and I followed through. I bought a pound and we rode the fuel. I talk shit, but she know it's true. Look, I'm in these streets with my Cuban on, and my biz with my music on. Old friends like what you and all. Shit, I've been on my grind, I ain't usually home. Focused, I ain't using phones. Lately, I've been using songs to get my point across. Why niggas around me lose it all. But that's your point of toss, I guess I always knew the ball. And that's just where we balls, I'm cracking cause I do my job. Look, from good racks to stars, spending all cash to sliding cards. It's the definition of living large. Smoking top flight in the biggest cars. Told you roll 8, the shit was ours. Getting this cake, yeah, nigga, and getting more. Look at this world, young nigga, it's really yours. This really mine, my niggas is really Ford. Them buildings is really high, them cars is really Ford. And all I see is ocean views. Small circle, it's a chosen few. I wrote it down and I followed through. I bought a pound and we rode the fuel. I talk shit, but she know it's true. Ocean views, small circle, it's a chosen few. I wrote it down and I followed through. I bought a pound and we rode the fuel.